Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Mind, Body, and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for November 2019. Yeah, it's for Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, then it just doesn't. Keep in mind, it's a general reading. It's going to resonate only with a group of Geminis out there that find themselves in this energy. All right, so I pre-shuffled your cards. Now let's see what's coming up. Straight out. We have the Two of Cups as your current energy, Gemini. Beautiful. Let's see who's that taking us. So what's the challenge? What's the challenge for Gemini? Okay, so Six of Cups is the challenge. Let's see what's the focus. Eight of Swords. And what's the advice? They do come out fast. Ten of Pentacles. Nice. And where's the future energy? Four of Cups. Okay, and underlying energy is the theme of your reading. You have the Chariot. All right. All right. Okay, excuse this setting is not the greatest, I know, and not the greatest light either. But yeah, this month it's all I could make. All right, I'm gonna clarify these cards before we actually get into the story. But yeah, the Chariot being your underlying energy, being the theme of your reading. I feel like you feel determined at this point to move forward. Okay, so you have the King of Pentacles and the Knight of Cups with the Two of Cups. Right. I'm gonna read them together. It's not a lot of space in here now, is it? I can barely see. All right. Now, why is the Six of Cups here as your challenge? Okay, this one wanted to show up. So, Nine of Wands with Six of Pentacles is your challenge. Why is the Eight of Swords your focus? Okay, this was the one too. Ten of Pentacles with the Ace of Swords as your focus. All right. Now, advice. Why is the Ten of... Okay. So, Eight of Wands with the Ten of Pentacles as your advice. No, what's this? That's too many. Okay. Fine. This Five of Swords keeps coming up. This is very interesting. In the Scorpio season, it's probably the Scorpio energy that sometimes a little bit can get into that vibe. All right, so you have the Three of Cups, the Five of Swords, the Seven of Cups, and the High Priestess, along with the Four of Cups as your future energy. And bottom of the deck, Two of Swords, the Chariot. Okay, so you may feel determined to move forward here, to move on, but you're not really sure where. So this Two of Swords talks about like maybe a little bit of indecision, a fork in the road, having to choose between two paths, two directions. And they might kind of be in a balance there. It's difficult for you to take the decision, but you seem like you're set to go here. I think the Chariot is saying that you actually know. Like, look. See, this person here has this white square at the heart. So I'm thinking that, and the star also on the forehead. I think this person really actually knows where he needs to go. The heart is set. Like, listen to your heart. Like what comes like from your pure heart, like the heart's desire. And sometimes it's difficult to tell like what's really my heart desire, or what's my mind telling me that I should be doing. And that's probably why the Two of Swords is here, because Two of Swords is the mind that was the one that's confused, you know? See, she's not really listening to her heart here. She's crossing her heart. She's being protective here. And she's blindfolded. She doesn't really know what's going on around here. So she's just like falling into confusion. But the point is that she will need to feel through this decision. She won't, her mind is not going to help her here. It's her emotions. Because two talks about the emotional realm. Two talks about intuition. Two talks about the ethereal, that the feminine energy, that's the in energy, that's like inwards. So in order to really know where you're going here, or what's the direction that you're set for, really go deep into your heart right now and meditate on it. Maybe let go of the mind somehow. Don't engage your mind too much, because it is really just not going to help you. And Two of Swords talks also, maybe it might be possible to waiting for a little bit might help. So you may be ready to go with the Chariot, but take your time. Take your time here. When I say ready to go, it doesn't necessarily mean going in a particular place physically, though that could be included. But it's more about like moving away from a situation, or it's going in some type of adventure, start something, you know. The Chariot talks about like having the physical resources to go along on your own journey here, maybe going solo on a project, maybe starting up a new business, maybe um anything, really anything that you set your mind to. The Chariot says that it's possible to do it. And you know, this is like the hero's, I wanted to talk about the hero's journey, but I mean also he's like the hero of the story, you know, like your own hero. And he's been in the castle, which symbolizes the safe place, which symbolizes like security and so on. And he's learned what he needed to learn there, you know. He's got everything that he needs right now, and he has the knowledge of the good, of the bad, of the dark, of the light. He understands both the shadow and like the obscure, what's he understands that you cannot have day without the night and the other way around, you know. You cannot have light without shadow and shadow without light. And I think that's important. And I think that that understanding goes beyond the mind. It goes like it's something that he had to embody really in order to move forward, in order to move in the direction that he needs to go. So he's all set to go. Yeah, I think you are ready. Just in order to know exactly where you're going and what is it that you want to put your this loads of energy that you have here, is to take a little bit of time to really go inwards and don't pay too much attention to your mind right now. Like, it's not about logic, it's about the heart, really. Could also mean relationships and stuff. I mean, like, you have the Two of Cups here, and you have the King of Pentacles and Knight of Cups to clarify this Two of Cups. The Two of Cups talks about balancing out ships. It can be like a romantic relationship, but it can also be relationships generally in your life, like, you know, engaging in a very healthy way in relationships, with healthy boundaries, with healthy communication, with really putting oneself, like, you know, with an open heart, engaging from an open heart. Okay, so there's 1 2 3 twos here. They both relate to the High Priestess. Interesting. And Knight of Cups, again, it talks about like having this, that's like the open heart, being able to engage in an offering, you being able to offer your but not like wearing your heart on a sleeve, you know. It's more about um keeping an open heart, knowing that you are safe. You are safe. You are this King of Pentacles, really, you know. That you can't be really hurt here because you are in a position where you know your worth. The King of Pentacles talks a lot about worth and about knowing what's worth and about owning what's like owning oneself, really. He's a builder, he's a protector, he's the king of his suit, you know. He talks about mastery, and that goes very much into the physical reality, right? Like you really are grounded and connected. That means that you're very much able to go into a space of connection, into this that's the space of creating a relationship from an open heart, because you really can't be hurt in this situation, in any situation, really. But that's something like kind of what we're learning that the wounds from the past, and this is your challenge, the wounds from the past are just that, wounds from the past. And with the proper time and healing, and with the proper relationship with the wounds, really, like we learn also how to relate to ourselves and how to relate to the wounds. Once we learn how to do that, then we are really safe in the other relationships that come into our lives or we want to engage in. If we don't come from this place of past woundedness, and we come from a place of I am who I am today, I'm carrying these wounds, but they're my wounds to carry and they're my wounds to heal. I'm not looking for a savior, I'm not looking for special treatment, I'm not looking for anything but what you have to offer. I hope that makes some sense to you. And I'm thinking like maybe this journey that you're trying to engage in has to do with with some type of relationships here. Like maybe you're starting a new way of relating with people. Romantically, very well possible, but not only, you know. But the thing is, like, all the relationships that we have in our daily reality reflect the type of relationships we witnessed as young kids, as children. So the way our parents related to each other depends also how your extended family was how much your extended family was present into your life. But like the dynamics of your early childhood are very much present right now in your reality, in your current relationship. So we develop certain kinds of attachment. You can check out like what's your type of attachment. There can be what is called, I think it's called healthy attachment, but I'm not really sure, in which we want we want to be present, we are present, we are setting boundaries, but we are also like wholeheartedly, like this is a healthy type of attachment, you know. It's secure attachment, it's called. But if we come from, and not that many people can really say that they can easily engage into secure attachments, because we all have our wounds, some of us more than others. But it's important now for you, especially the person that resonates with this particular reading, to look into your own past right now and how that like what type of attachment you developed as a result from that. The Six of Cups talks about past, and the Nine of Wands talks about being hurt and about how carrying that wound with you, and being tired of maybe engaging in relationships because it's always the same problem. It's always going to be the same. It seems like a story keeps repeating itself, a particular pattern of the people, the kind of people you attract, or the kind of, or the. I know maybe you're we're in Scorpio season, so betrayal and I don't know, abandonments are in fashion. Or actually, it's a joke, come on. But I mean, like, dealing with these wounds that we felt from the past. It can be a more recent past, not necessarily like early childhood, but like whatever broke your heart, whatever made you feel like you want to fence up, and like you don't really trust the world anymore. The type of attachment, maybe like here it shows like it's avoidant attachment type, like what somebody who's like really uh not wanting to engage. He doesn't want to engage with the world, doesn't want to engage in relationships because he's been hurt so many damn times, and he's like, I think I'm good. I'm gonna put all these ones here to protect me, make sure that I'm never gonna get hurt again the way I did back in the past, back in the day, whenever that was, starting maybe from early childhood and then repeating itself in so many different ways. Keep sort of like telling me the story about me in the end, that, oh, I cannot have healthy relationships, oh, there's something wrong with me. Usually there isn't. I mean, the only thing that is wrong with us is that we think that something's wrong with us. And that's kind of like, we grow up with this because nobody really teaches us, or some of us like that come from a more, that received enough love and nourishment at an early age, we know that we can trust ourselves deep down inside. But those of us that haven't had that much support and so much trust from our caretakers, it's very easy to believe that we're really deeply wrong, somehow damaged, because we feel rejected, because we feel that betrayed, abandoned, whatever. That we children always think that there's something's their fault. If the parents fight with each other, oh, it's my fault somehow. If one of the parents abandons the others and leaves the marriage or whatever, the child always would feel like he wasn't good enough, he wasn't important enough, he wasn't worthy to for that parent to actually stay. And there's like so many stories that can be told about this particular energy, and just find your own. But it's important to look at it right now, because that's what's challenging, that's what kind of what stops you right now. Maybe that's what puts you in this place of like to being in two minds about something. Oh, should I go into the I don't know, should I start this new chapter in my life? Should I go again dating, or should I go again um starting one, maybe wanting to heal a particular relationship you're in? You feel like you've done some work there, and here I am, I'm putting my boundaries, or I'm communicating from an authentic place. But then you're again terrified, what if it's going to happen again? What if like I'm going to get hurt again, just the way I did here, and the Eight of Swords comes as your focus with the Ten of Cups. And I think it's important to really look at, as a result of your past, as a result of how you've been hurt before, what is it that what keeps you trapped now into that space of hurt? It's like this person's built this shield by himself, and he's keeping himself away from the world, not just the world away from him. It creates a separation. It creates this is not exactly just a boundary now. It is being overly defensive, and that's coming from looking at, like, you got to look at your mind to understand what's going on in here. Like, look back and forth at your past and your wounds, and where you've been building all these like high walls around your heart. And also look at how you're keeping yourself prisoner of this by the stories that you tell yourself. If you tell yourself that, okay, so if my mother or my father abandoned me, then they didn't love me enough, that means that I'm unlovable. And then somewhere in your mind you have registered this, that you're unlovable, and you probably cannot be happy, because nobody would, if you, my own fucking parents didn't want me, who would want me? It can also be a little bit more hidden, you know. It doesn't need to be so direct. So that's why it's so important to watch our minds and so watch what are the stories that we tell ourselves. I've actually had this conversation at some point, some time ago, with a friend that he was in a relationship, and um well, he was having like this whole quite fiery reactions to pretty much everything. And I brought the conversation all the way to the fact, like, okay, like, look at how you feel about yourself in this case. Do you feel like you're worth it? Do you think that it's important? Like, it goes all the way down to self-worth somehow, feeling that we're not worthy of love because of whatever happened in our past, like the patterns. Maybe a parent was cold or not, and didn't show affection, whatever. It doesn't need to be necessarily abandonment, but the point is, like, he was completely resistant of that story. You're like, no, 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 what do you mean? There's no, not that thing. It's impossible to be about self-worth because I have great self-esteem, which is, by the way, not the same thing. But then later into the conversation, he caught himself saying that he wouldn't go through so much trouble to live a, I don't know, healthy life, or even live really, because it wasn't worth it. He wasn't worth it without her. He was doing all these things for her. And that was very interesting because many of the times we don't see it. We just don't see it, how we downgrade ourselves, how we tell ourselves the story that we are not worth it. Because we're so used to it, we're not used to see it. It becomes a blind spot, you know? So being Eight of Swords, your focus, with the Ten of Wands, look at what stories you're telling yourself about happiness. Also, what stories do you tell yourself about, like, um, how happiness should look like? Sometimes we have such fixed ideas. So these stories that we get from Hollywood, or from I don't know, the romantics, the American dream, whatever dreams we've been sold, you know, and we buy into that, and we also kind of create an idealized version of even that, and we kind of set ourselves up for failure because reality never really is the way it's been depicted in these movies or whatever how we even idealize them. And the reason we set ourselves up for failure is because we just can't believe that happiness is achievable. Not It goes back to the same thing, like, I make it look impossible. I also make it like, okay, I can be happy after I lose this much weight, or after I meet the perfect person, or after I graduate from this, or after I get my raise, or after later, you know, it's always later, after some type of achievement or some type of like key moment. And after that key moment or achievement, we set another goal and another goal and another goal, and we never end up like being like, okay, ooh, I'm happy. I really am happy. So look at your stories of what's your happily ever after, whether it's relationships, whether it's even career, because we have the King of Pentacles here, and the Chariot also talks about the physical energy, and there's the Ten of Pentacles here. Just like look at happiness at large, really. Is it happiness like a fleeting moment? Look at in the past. Where have you been happy? Actually, we're getting there because we're going into your advice here. Your advice is to look at the Ten of Pentacles. Ten of Pentacles meaning your legacy, meaning abundance. What is the story of abundance? What is the story of happiness that you grew up with, that comes from your ancestors, or from your parents and their grandparents, and so on and so on and so on? Look, also look at what you have, you know. Gratefulness brings much more joy than our absurd idealized dreams of what the happily ever after should look like. Really count your blessings here, and communicate that to the people that are important to you. When you see that you're grateful, that there are certain people in your lives that had been helpful and supportive, that you had your family here. In Ten of Pentacles talks a lot about family, also Ten of Cups, but it's more like the family that you create. Ten of Pentacles, it's more like the whole tree. So look, do communicate when you realize how grateful you are for having the people that did stick by you in your life, that taught you certain things, that were there to help you mend your heart when it was broken, and friends and financial support, and count your blessings. Yeah, I think that's really really important. It's also important to get our become empowered, to not to get out of this eight of pentacle, eight of swords, which is like really just being trapped in our minds, really, and feeling completely disempowered. This person is like the least empowered from the whole deck. You know, she's completely um stuck in there. And the thing is that it's an illusion, you know, because she's alone there. Nobody's really forcing her or to do anything. The ties, the binds are loose. She's just not aware that she could easily set herself free here. You know, she needs to feel through, um she needs to become aware of her body and really feel here that these things are not so tight, and she could easily set herself free. She could use any of these tools ready to set herself free here. But if she stays in her mind and she's like telling herself, oh my god, this is horrible, here I am, I'm stuck, I'm binded, I'm blindfolded, I can't see anything, then she won't see that she has the key of escape, only if she were like really connecting to her body. And Ten of Pentacles, again, it's also, it's Pentacles energy. It connect to your place of abundance, whatever kind of abundance that is. Sometimes even when you don't necessarily have money, or something very clear on a physical realm to put your finger in, like if you compare all the time, like, oh my god, this person have so much money or whatever. We always have something. There's always something that we have that others don't, or that kept me strong in moments of the dark night of the soul. And I can be grateful for that. I can be grateful for the teachings of a grandparent that maybe it's is or not still alive, but the fact that I had them in my life, the fact that they held me, and they encouraged me, and they gave me so much love at an early age. Maybe it was very very important, and that I can nurture myself from that still. And the Eight of Wands does talk about communication, also talks about action. It's about putting your intentions into action. It's about um, manifesting something quite fast. It's very fast moving energy. And it's also sort of like starting downloading certain information from higher realms here. And higher realms, I mean like your spiritual understanding, not your mind. Your mind here is not your friend. It really isn't. So when I say look into this stuff, it's more like feel into this stuff. Feel into your body, feel into your story, and observe the story that you tell yourself. Don't think your story again and again and again. Don't become the hero in that story. Observe how the story is being narrated, and you'll realize that it's not just one story. There's 8 damn swords here. That's why this lady's so confused. That's what traps her, really. Each and every sword is a story, and you're the hero of each and every one of them. And you know, like, we don't really have that much continuity once we start observing the mind. No, that the sense of self and the sense of identity starts blurring, because it's really not that fixed. We're constantly changing. Mm. And that's a little bit scary, but that's okay, you know. It really is. It's very helpful, and it's very healthy to look at what is my story, And how am I telling this story? Am I telling this story to myself? It doesn't matter. You can make the exercise, tell the story to other people as well. You can make a life story if you want. You can write it down. You can write a book. You can participate in a sort of like a workshop or group in which people tell their life stories in, I don't know, 40 minutes, and just make the exercise and see how would you tell your story, and then say it again and see if it's the same, and see how your emotions change when you tell the story in a different way. Also check what comes out. That's it. And be grateful, because those stories, sad as they were at some point and happy as they were at others, they were all teachers to you. That's why you have to learn the both. There's no light without dark, and there's no dark without light. Life is not about having it all happily ever after. It's always going to be ups and downs, and joy comes from the path of least resistance. When we learn to have to be present for everything there is, really, and to be present for ourselves, for our lives. My God, what's going on in here? The future energy. So you have the Four of Cups here, and the Four of Cups talks about some type of emotional stability, and that stability can come from maybe be a little bit more apathic and being like very reflective and going internal a little bit. And you have the High Priestess here to back that up, like going within, in a sense, going within, and kind of and again you have this like black and white here. It's so important, see? And again, the left is always black and the right is white, because the left symbolizes the yin energy, the feminine. Black doesn't necessarily mean bad. Darkness doesn't necessarily mean evil. It just means what is not known, what is hidden in the dark. There can be gems in there. So most of the times the monsters we think are there were created by our minds. This lady, she feels maybe very persecuted here, but there's no one there. There's no one there. It's just her mind. The swords are symbolizing of her mind. So yeah, being aware and knowledgeable of both the light and the role it plays, and the dark and the role it plays, and how actually they are two sides of the same coin. And everything in between is what's most important. It's not just the two extremes. And how we are learning to bring two opposites together. It's like actually when you have two neurons, the neurons that fire together, the wire together, right? And sometimes it feels like you have two opposite ends and they don't seem to connect, like two sides of the same coin. You don't see that they're the same coin. And when you start like moving these dualities, these strong dualities, when you're starting like not compromising, what's it called, like sorry, I'm sorry, I'm really missing the words here. What's important is that once you start like really understand that resolving contrasts, look at two deep contrasts within yourself and allow those connections to be made, that's when you start understanding the big picture. You can't have one without the other, and then it's not two things anymore, it's just one. And then you're not so affected by it anymore, because you're not one or the other. You can see it from the outside, in a sense. I hope that makes sense to someone there, because it becomes a little bit abstract and I seem to have difficulties to communicate it properly. I really hope it makes sense to someone. It's been through some length with it. But yeah, like it seems like what's in the future energy when you go through this process, and I think it's where you need to go. That's usually kind of where you need to go anyway. Is that you're looking at what you've been idealizing, what you've been dreaming of, what are your daydreams, also what you're afraid of, what are like many choices that you're putting in front of you, and you're learning to feel through. You're learning to use your intuition, just like here. You're feeling through, kind of like how to set yourself free here. You have the key within yourself. The chariot is telling you that you have everything that you need on a physical reality to reach your goal here. The mind's your only setback. And that's a little bit scary, because I'm like, oh my God, I've been compromised from the inside. How am I going to work against me? But it's not about working against oneself. It's really bringing oneself on board. Again, it's about resolving the dualities. It's about bringing the things together, looking at the big picture. The Three of Cups also is like taking like two things, and the two goes to three. It's like two things coming together to create something bigger. It's like resolution, really. It can also mean like, okay, joy and friendships and connections, but I think it has to do with this, yeah, being able to, if once you when you heal this mind trap, when you allow yourself to get over the blind spot that you've created for yourself, because it hurts, whatever happened in your past, and you have your wound there, then you're able to connect from this like beautiful honest space, and with your open heart, from a very grounded place, from a very secure place, secure attachment. And then your friendships, your connections become so much closer, become so much more authentic. You start like really feeling through your soul tribe here, attracting your whole soul tribe, or getting closer to the friends that already are in your life, and brings so much joy and celebration, really. And it's kind of also allowing you to befriend this energy, where we have those victories that come at a cost, where we still are in a conflicting energy, when we are still looking for a fight sometimes, Five of Swords does talk about looking for a fight and trying to put someone down or to lift myself up. So I think you're getting equipped to welcome this part of yourself, because this one comes from here, comes from the wounded part of you. It does not come from the part of you that goes with an open heart. When we have an open heart, when we're connected to the inner self, when we're connected to the inner wisdom, when we are home within ourselves, when we are nourished, there's nothing to be afraid of. I don't need to fight with anyone. If I see that they're coming from this energy, I am able to look at it with compassion, because I know they come also from their own wounds there. So yeah, it's actually a really beautiful journey. I'm gonna pull out a Rumi Oracle card. This reading felt a little bit all over the place, but I do feel it makes a lot of sense though. This Al-Uza, Star of Venus. It's number 26. Let's see, what does this say? I gave up on trying to make these readings shorter. They are as long as they are, and it is what it is. So, the poem from Rumi associated with this card says, I am the pure light, my son. I am not a handful of worthless dust. I am not just an empty shell. I am a regal pearl formed in this world. Close your eyes to see and become aware of me. Perceive me with eyes that see the unseen. Come into the mystery to find me. I am a carefree visitor here for you. Yes, Close your eyes to see and become aware of me. So in a sense, this is why this is your focus. Your mind is like you need to become blindfolded here in order to be forced to go within, in a sense. And you have these two cards telling you again to go within. Close your eyes and become aware of me. Also, it's like this whole thing, like I'm pure light. I'm not a handful of worthless dust. Reminds us that the story that we've been telling ourselves based on some past wounds are pure bullshit. We need to remember. We need to set ourselves free from the baggage that we've been carrying we just took free for ourselves. We thought it's ours. From our caretakers and from whatever dynamics is still attached to us. That's why I look into the past. Okay, let's just see what's Okay, very interesting, because I kept saying about the black and white here and the feminine, the masculine and the feminine, and it says here that there's great growth is possible right now. To take the great transformation from man or woman into cosmic androgyne does not require that we lose our sense of femininity or masculinity. Rather, they become so superior in development that they cease to be distinguished from each other. Our masculine clarity, with its discernment, practicality, and application, becomes so tender, loving, compassionate, and tempered with grace that the feminine is integrated with it. Our feminine nurturance, dedication, and connection to life become so fierce that discernment and wise action naturally prevail. I think it was here. Where was it? Yeah, about action as well. Like when you come from a place of abundance and of love, follow it up with action. With this great androgynous integration of the masculine and the feminine into oneness, men and women of this beautiful earth become capable of a new consciousness. It is one of based in love, of service to life, of letting go of judgments, stereotypes, and limited belief systems. And opening up to compassion for all life. As the consciousness is anchored, spiritual growth becomes rapid. This is really, really rapid spiritual growth. This is not necessarily without some bumps and bruises, letting go of all notions of what it is to be a man or a woman, to be masculine or feminine, letting go of fear of women or men, of emasculation or victimization. Victimization and emasculation is this one probably. Letting go of wounding are all great steps forward. They promise liberation, empowerment, and compassion, as well as peace, happiness. Yet they are not easy steps to take. Great resistance can be evoked within you as an individual, and also within the culture around you, which might find your notion of personal spiritual empowerment confronting and challenging to their culture or fear-based enslavement of the soul. Okay. So what to do? Al-Uzza, the ancient shining one, also known as the star of Venus, holds much power and strength. Even small blessing of her light is more powerful than the fear of thousands, if not millions of people. She is known as a worthy ally in battle of any kind, even spiritual battle. You must, however, stay aligned with her way, which is not to fight fear with fear, hate with hate, or anger with anger. Do not, I repeat, do not fight fear with fear, hate with hate, or anger with anger. Does this mean that you should not feel fear, hate, or anger? Of course not. Venus denies no experience. So let yourself feel whatever you feel. The guidance is not to stop being human. Take the next step into the divine human, into allowing the star blessing to nestle in your heart, so you can shift as you feel the feelings, holding them with compassion, then choosing your own truths that resonate at far more refined vibration. Exactly. So when this energy shows up within ourselves, my love, it's not about like denying it or pushing it away. It's really about building up connection and compassion, allowing this part of me to really come home and become whole. And as I allow the parts of me that I don't like or I mistrust, or they just come as messengers or as as a shield, But when I realize where do they really come from the woundedness, from the pain, and when I allow myself to integrate that part of me, that's when I really, really become home. And that's when I really, really feel abundance and happiness and joy. Okay. Your guidance then is to trust your path, trust your evolution, even in the face of those around you reacting to it, possibly in fear or discomfort. Trust in the path of others too. For in truth, there is one path and we are all on it. You do not have to convince anyone of anything. That is not your job. Your job is to embrace your wisdom, embrace your freedom and empowerment to grow spiritually and live your life accordingly. You are becoming, through bestowal of grace, something more of a goddess and a god, of a human and a sacred animal, integrated as one. This is sacred alchemy, amplified in the star fires of Venus, who loves you as a brother sister and honors your soul with her blessings. Shine, true beloved, shine bright. Well, I hope you're gonna be able to do that, my love, because Gemini, this is a beautiful, beautiful reading. So enjoy Scorpio season and enjoy the Sagittarius season coming after that. And if you do resonate with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you here soon.